Eh? Could that child be? I happened to peek behind the dumpster at a supermarket in the neighboring town. There, among the stray cats rummaging through the trash, was my tattered 6-year-old niece. However, when I instinctively called out, she was startled and ran away. Panicking, I immediately contacted her mother, my sister-in-law. "We had her funeral last month, remember?" she said nonchalantly. But after learning the shocking truth, I decided to make my sister-in-law and her husband regret it for life. I am Carrie, 30 years old. Originally, I worked as a teacher, but now I am a full-time housewife. I live happily with my kind husband, who is the same age as me, and our adorable 2-year-old son. My husband Watson lost his parents before we met, and his only family left was his younger sister. He is a serious person, but his sister Brianna is quite the opposite. She is already married and lives in the neighboring town with her husband Tyson and their only daughter Luna, but I had been concerned about their lifestyle. This is because they frequently asked us for money. My sister-in-law worked at a nightclub, where she was quite popular with the customers and seemed to be earning a lot. However, she frequently bought branded bags and clothes and didn't seem to spend money on living expenses. According to my husband, when their parents passed away, the inheritance was divided equally between the siblings, but Brianna had already squandered her share. As a result, she often came to ask my husband for money at the end of the month. Her husband also used to earn quite a bit working at a nightclub, but after getting married, he quit his job and now lives off her earnings, drinking and having fun.
If they're short on money, Tyson should get a job too, don't you think?
You are letting Tyson play around with the money you earn. Are you okay with that? We were worried about my sister-in-law, who came asking for money as if it were the most natural thing every month. As long as Tyson is happy, I am the happiest. Despite our concerns, Brianna, who was infatuated with Tyson, didn't listen. I was exasperated with her, but for my husband, his 8-year younger sister was his only living family and irreplaceable. Watson, although troubled, continued to give her small amounts of money from their parents' inheritance. I understand your concern for Brianna, and since it's coming from the inheritance Watson received, it's best if I don't interfere. The main reason we were financially supporting my sister-in-law and her husband was our desire not to let our 6-year-old niece Luna go hungry. However, I was very worried that someday the inheritance would run out, and it would become difficult to raise her. Luna was a quiet, well-behaved child, and I was concerned about how my sister-in-law and her husband treated her. These thoughts began to haunt me when our son was born. When my sister-in-law came to the hospital, she stared intently at the baby's face. A boy, huh? I wonder if he looks like Tyson. Thank you. Luna is very cute too. Her? No way. Girls aren't cute at all. I wish I had a boy. My sister-in-law complained openly, even in front of Luna. Can Luna hear this? Is this okay? I was worried that Luna might feel hurt. Moreover, one day, when my son had grown up and I had become capable of doing regular chores, I made a lot of side dishes and decided to visit Brianna's house. When I arrived and was about to ring the doorbell, I heard loud voices. Hey! Why isn't the laundry done yet?
You're so slow.
I am sorry.
Peeking into the yard, I saw Luna carrying a large laundry basket, responding weakly. Brianna. What are you making a 6-year-old do? My sudden appearance startled the couple, but they quickly glared at me. She's practicing doing chores. This is our educational policy. An outsider has no right to interfere.
Exactly. And how dare you come here without calling first? That's too rude.
Wearing expensive branded clothes and looking well-groomed, they casually dismissed me. However, Luna was wearing dirty clothes and had unkempt hair. Though dissatisfied, I walked away, only to be approached by a neighbor. Apparently, while Brianna worked at night, Tyson was out drinking. As a result, Luna was often left alone at night. Shocked, I immediately reported this to my husband when he returned home late at night. Watson was about to call his sister immediately, but reconsidered upon seeing it was already past 1 a.m. and decided to wait until the next day. After discussing the best approach, we decided it would be better to talk to Brianna directly. The next day, my husband had a day off, so we visited my sister-in-law's house together. Ringing the doorbell, Brianna appeared in her pajamas despite it being midday. Tyson was out, but Luna, small and frail, was cleaning the floor, while her annoyed-looking mother asked, "What do you want?" "We heard Luna has been left alone at night." My sister-in-law seemed more concerned about who told us rather than the issue itself, so I didn't reveal the source to avoid causing trouble. "So it's true then?" "It's worrying to leave such a small child alone at night." "Should we take care of her at night?"
It's dangerous. You should let us help.
I'll think about it." Despite our persistent persuasion, Brianna only responded with a clearly annoyed expression, listening half-heartedly. We had no choice but to leave without a clear answer. Worried but unable to interfere too much in another household's affairs, we reluctantly kept an eye on the situation. Eventually, we suddenly had to part with Luna, and I was deeply saddened for a while. One day, some time later, I went shopping at a supermarket in the neighboring town with my son. Just as I was about to enter the store, a stray cat ran behind the building. My son tried to chase the cat, so I looked behind the building. It was a narrow, dimly lit area used as a trash dump, with several cats gathered. As we watched the cats, we heard a rustling sound from a garbage can at the back. What a big cat, I thought. But to my surprise, it was a child who peeked out, and upon closer look, she looked exactly like my niece in tattered, dirty clothes. "What? Luna?" Startled, I shouted, and the child ran in the opposite direction. It can't be Luna, but... What should I do? I'm worried. Holding my son, I immediately chased after her but lost sight of her. Unable to shake off my concern, I called my sister-in-law in a panic. "Hey. I just saw Luna near the supermarket by your house." "Huh? We had Luna's funeral last month, remember?" Haha. My sister-in-law laughed while talking about her child's supposed death. Indeed, last month, we were suddenly informed by my sister-in-law that Luna had passed away. That day, Watson received a call from Brianna with the news of Luna's death. The suddenness of it all left me flustered and confused. What? Luna? But she was just fine.
I don't know. Let's go to Brianna's house.
Shocked, we rushed to my sister-in-law's house. There, we found an urn already placed. Feeling weak, we collapsed onto the floor, speechless. The funeral and cremation are already done. She muttered, avoiding eye contact. Why didn't you tell us before the funeral? I felt uneasy but couldn't question a grieving parent. Seeing my sister-in-law looking downcast, we gave her a condolence payment above the norm and left. Recalling last month's events, I still couldn't reconcile the fact that the child I saw looked so much like Luna. Did Luna really die? This doubt stuck in my mind, and I couldn't shake it off. I began to suspect that my sister-in-law might be lying and felt compelled to verify it with my own eyes. Checking the time, I realized my husband had just finished work, so I called Watson and told him about the child I saw. She looked so much like Luna. And at the funeral, we only saw the urn.
You're right. It's concerning. I'll join you. Even if it's not Luna, we can't leave a child in such a state.
Thank you. I met my husband, who had come directly from work to the supermarket, and together we started searching for the child. As the sky grew dimmer, we found the child in the park next to the supermarket. I immediately called my husband over to confirm the face, and indeed, it was my niece. Luna.
Carrie.
I knew it. I'm glad we found you. What are you doing here?
Um,
The niece, looking down, hesitated and seemed reluctant to speak. Her clothes were dirty and tattered, and her hair, unwashed and tangled, was matted in places like a bird's nest. To avoid frightening her, I lowered myself to her level and looked at her with a gentle expression. It's getting late. How about we go to our house together? The niece hesitated for a moment but eventually nodded slightly after a brief pause. So, my husband and I took Luna home with us. Upon arrival, we immediately put her in the bath. Not only was she dirty, but her body was also quite thin. Afterward, when we laid out a meal in front of her at the table, she began eating with tremendous speed. You must have been so hungry. How pitiful. I was reminded of the sight of her rummaging through the trash earlier, and my heart ached. Then, Luna's eyes welled up with large tears, and she stopped eating halfway through, beginning to sob with a choked voice. Luna, can you tell me what happened?
my mom told me to go away.
Huh? What do you mean? According to the niece, she had been kicked out by her aunt with the words, "Never show your face again. I want a boy who looks like Tyson, so I don't need you." This was around the time we had been informed by the sister-in-law that Luna had disappeared. I was certain that my suspicion was correct. The sister-in-law and her husband had lied and made it seem as though Luna had passed away. The niece told us that after being kicked out, she had been living in the park and scavenging through dumpsters to find food. I thought something was wrong, but I never expected they would do such a thing to my niece. My husband and I were shaking with shock and anger after hearing the truth from Luna. We decided to punish the sister-in-law and her husband to protect her. First, I decided to seek the help of someone I knew to investigate the sister-in-law and her husband. When I consulted them immediately, it was the right decision. This person had various pieces of information, and it was revealed that the Brianna couple had outrageous secrets. I see. Now, how should we go about punishing them? My husband and I quietly prepared to avoid detection by them and waited for the right moment. As time passed, this month, as usual, the sister-in-law contacted us demanding money.
All right. If you need money, you and your husband should come over once in a while.
Oh, well, if I must, I'll come. When my husband spoke in a decisive tone, the couple showed up at our house as promised. Since they were expecting to receive money, they were unusually cheerful and friendly, unlike their usual indifferent demeanor. By the way, it's almost Luna's memorial month, isn't it? Huh? Oh. I suppose so. The sister-in-law and her husband, Tyson, avoided eye contact and gave vague responses, not saying anything further. So, I stepped a little closer to them. I didn't quite catch it, but how did Luna die? It was an illness. I'm surprised, considering how healthy she seemed. What was the name of the illness? When did she start getting sick? Well, unable to immediately answer my questions, the face turned pale, and she looked away. Meanwhile, Tyson, who was beside her, pretended not to notice and looked away in another direction. When I repeatedly asked the same questions, the sister-in-law, irritated by my persistence, snapped at my husband. Just give me the money already. Normally, Watson would quickly hand over the money, but today he stared at the sister-in-law with a stern expression.
I'm not giving you any more money. This money needs to be saved for Luna's future.
Huh? I've told you, Luna is gone already, right?
Are you deaf? Watson, were you listening? Ha ha.
They laughed loudly, mocking my husband. Seeing this, my restrained anger exploded, and I glared at them. It's useless to lie. Luna is alive. Don't make baseless claims without evidence. I found her in the neighboring town. I also know that you kicked her out of your home. Upon hearing my words, the sister-in-law and her husband both exclaimed what, in shock, but quickly composed themselves. If you're going to lie, at least make it a better lie.
Don't mess around. Just because you don't want to give us money, you're making up all this nonsense.
They seemed to find it unbelievable that I knew the truth. They kept complaining and accusing me, repeating, "Give us the money," as if they were collecting a debt. So, I pulled out a few photos and showed them. These photos were records I had taken since the day Luna was found, with dates clearly marked. Luna is staying with us. I won't be giving her back to you. They were silent for a while, but realizing everything was exposed, the sister-in-law became defiant. Oh, fine. I don't care. I want a boy with Tyson, so I don't need Luna anymore. If you want her, you can have her. I understand. But do you realize that Tyson is betraying you? Huh? I showed the sister-in-law a few more photos, clearly showing Tyson's infidelity. He was having an affair with an employee from Brianna's rival store, using the money given to him by the sister-in-law. While the sister-in-law worked, Tyson was spending money on his lover almost every night. Seeing these photos, Brianna went into a panic and turned to Tyson. Wait. What's going on?
Ah, so it's been exposed. Well, I never thought much of you beyond a source of money anyway.
What? What do you mean? If you want a child so badly, find someone else. Goodbye. The husband said this lightly and left, abandoning the confused sister-in-law. Brianna, realizing she was abandoned by Tyson, collapsed in tears.
We'll cut ties with you as well. Even though you're my sister, I don't want to be involved with someone who would abandon their child.
Thus, my husband declared a complete severance of ties with the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law, with a face soaked in tears, looked at us resentfully. If I work hard to make money, Tyson will surely come back. I don't care about you. Do you really believe that? Of course. But you've been taking money from the store without permission. It seems that's been discovered. Despite her bravado, the face turned pale when she heard my words. I heard rumors from an acquaintance who works in the entertainment district. It's only a matter of time before you're kicked out of the store. In reality, the person I relied on was a former student from my teaching days. Though he had been a troublesome student disliked by the entire school, I had faced him directly when I was a rookie teacher. Gradually, he opened up, graduated successfully, and now runs his own business. Since he occasionally contacts me, I have visited his store several times and built a good relationship. When I consulted this former student who now runs a bar, he gathered concerning rumors about the sister-in-law and her husband from surrounding businesses. Upon hearing this, the sister-in-law changed her attitude completely and clung to my husband, trembling. What's going to happen to me?
It's fine if you're just kicked out of the store, but you might be sued.
Oh, that would be terrible. Do something. My husband looked at Brianna coldly and pushed her away, but she tightly grasped Watson's arm. Luna will be lonely without me. Let me stay here with her. Despite having abandoned her daughter, she now claims her daughter needs her when it's inconvenient for her. How can you say such selfish things? I'm astonished. At that moment, the front door opened, and my niece, holding hands with my son, came in. I had asked them to play in the garden to avoid them overhearing the conversation, but they had returned. Seeing Luna, the sister-in-law cried out in distress. Luna wants to stay with Mommy. Please ask her to.
I'm not lonely without Mom. After all, she has always neglected me. So, it's okay. Let's say goodbye now.
The niece looked straight at her mother and spoke clearly. Upon hearing these words, the sister-in-law was left speechless. You have neglected your child all this time, and now you use her to your advantage only when it suits you. You're completely wrong if you think the child will always seek you out. With a cold tone, I told the sister-in-law, and she collapsed into tears on the spot. She was dragged out of our house by my husband, who said, "That's how it is." Later, the sister-in-law was questioned by her workplace and admitted to embezzling store funds, amounting to $50,000, with Tyson as the mastermind. Both Brianna and Tyson were caught and had to atone for their crimes. Moreover, the sister-in-law was required to repay the money to her workplace, so her future will be challenging. As for Luna, she officially became our adopted child, and we shower her with the same affection as our own son. Next year, Luna will start elementary school. Seeing her happily going to school, we want to continue to nurture her with love. How was this story? Please also subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.